As chair of the London Strategic Migration Partnership and a frequent visit to community projects around London, and it is destitution projects I've actually visited, I am well aware of the important role that refugee community organisations play in the integration of refugee communities. The Mayor's Refugee Integration Strategy, London Enriched, recognises the energy and commitment to self-help that is found among refugee communities. This is why community development is one of the 7 core themes in London Enriched. The GLA is currently working with the Community Development Link Body to implement a number of actions on community development. We have just commissioned a report on how migrant and refugee community organisations contribute to this integration. This report will focus on case studies that reflect the diverse activities of MRCO. It will also highlight the real and tangible results of their work. The GLA will use this report to promote their work. The aim is to encourage local government, public services, charitable funders and other key partners to work with MRCOs and to invest in their activities in order to help achieve their own objectives by reaching out to refugee communities. We are also commissioning a report on how advice and information are needed for integration. Newly arrived refugees face many challenges in building new lives in London. They need a place to live, they need to work, and they need access to health, care and other services. Advice and information is crucial to meeting these needs and settling in as quickly as possible. We know that advice is often a key service provided by MRCO, and our report will make recommendations for practical action to sustain and improve the advice and information available for refugees. London Enriched also aims to support volunteering by refugees. We know that many MRCOs depend mainly or exclusively upon volunteers. We also know that volunteering can be an important pathway to employment, as well as a way of participating in the wider community. But volunteering needs to be supported in order to realise and expand its benefits. The Mayor of London is very keen to promote volunteering, and Zilli, the Chair of the Community Development Link Body, recently chaired a meeting of key partners to look at ways in which the Mayor and the GLA can help expand and improve volunteering opportunities for refugees. But we are living in difficult times for everyone. The coalition government is making spending cuts and reforms that are absolutely necessary to the future prosperity of Britain, in my view. In the short term, these cuts will be challenging for everyone. Central government, local government, the GLA and public services will all have to do more with less. The coalition government wants to empower civil society to solve problems and improve communities. But voluntary and community organisations will also be challenged to do more with less. London Enriched highlights the challenges already faced by refugees seeking to integrate: learning English, housing, employment, education and training, access to healthcare, and finding a place in the community. The decrease in spending will make these even harder, and there will be additional pressure on MRCOs. That is why I am determined that the actions in London Enriched and our new actions for next year will help sustain the role played by MRCOs. The Bais Project has an important role to play in building the capacity of the organisations, and the GLA and LSNP can also contribute. Just this morning, the LSNP agreed its priorities for next year. For community development, these are funding and other resources for MRCOs, including access to the commissioning process, volunteering opportunities for refugees and migrants, information and advice for refugees and migrants. We will now be working with the Community Development Link Body to develop specific objectives and actions in these areas. The conference today can play an important role in informing what we do, in planning our actions for next year. There is a key coalition programme we need to take into account. The Big Society agenda. Developing the Big Society will have implications for local government, but also for civil society. The GLA is monitoring the development of specific initiatives that will bring the Big Society into being. As specific initiatives emerge, we are looking at how they can support refugee integration and the work of migrant refugee community organisations. There may also be opportunities for the Mayor to influence big society initiatives to recognise the role of MRCOs in civil society and the contribution they make to integration in London. The central premise of the Big Society is that communities should play a greater role in solving local problems and improving the quality of life. The Coalition said that the Big Society will be developed through redistribution of power to communities, neighbourhoods and individuals, redistribution of knowledge by providing information to hold services to account, redistribution of social finance to deliver value for money and innovation, giving money and resources to whoever can use them most effectively to benefit the community. The Big Society is all about giving power to the grassroots, and NRCOs, like all grassroots organisations, must be part of that Big Society. It is also about people working together for positive change. This is precisely what a community development and MRCOs are all about. And we need to make sure they are recognised as part of the Big Society and that they work alongside other civil society organisations to address local problems. Some details about the Big Society agenda have already emerged. The Decentralisation and Localism Bill announced in the Queen's speech will enact a public sector reform that is a key element. The Big Society Bank will fund civil society initiatives, and a new National Citizen Service is being piloted that will help young people develop the skills to be active citizens. Community organisations will be trained to empower members of local communities and link them to existing civil society structures. Mutual societies and employee-owned cooperatives, social enterprise and charities will be supported and encouraged. Pathfinder mutuals to be run by public sector staff are being piloted in London. Businesses and established social enterprises will be encouraged to act as mentors. All of these initiatives offer opportunities to support and involve MRCOs. Another opportunity will be the new commissioning process by which public services are funded. The GLA's own responsible procurement policy can help inform efforts to ensure that commissioning delivers social development and community benefits. The Community Development League body is already looking at ways of influencing commissioning to reach refugee and migrant communities by involving MRCOs in a meaningful and sustainable way. I hope that this brief summary of the work we are doing on community development and refugee integration and the options we are considering for future action will inform the panel discussion. And may I immediately give my apologies for not being able to stay and contribute, but Dick Williams will take my place on the panel. I've actually got to get back to greet Sherry Blair at 4 o'clock, where I'm making another speech to a girls' organisation. But can I wish you best wishes on a successful conclusion to your day, and I truly look forward to the outcome of the discussion and to future cooperation promoting development and participation of refugee communities in London. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the formal speech that I have to give to you, and that outlines the processes and what is happening in the actions which is being undertaken. What it cannot perforce convey to you is the commitment, intellectual and emotional, to the achievement of the goals that we've all set ourselves. I do not believe that London can be a sustainable city if it is divided amongst itself And by that I mean that if some in society benefit from the success of the city and prosper because of the success of the city, but other groups are perforce locked out from the opportunities that London offers. None of us can afford to have any group of society, however small or large, locked out from the other part of it. And what has happened today with destitution, people who have gone through the process and perhaps been refused and prefer to live on the streets or in friends' flats with no money, no income and no visible means of support, rather than go back to their own country, should be lessons to all of us to learn and to listen and to heed. Migrants who come here, who are willing to work, we must be prepared to stretch out our hands to help them to integrate. And by integration, I do not mean assimilation. London is a glorious jigsaw of communities, faiths, countries that are represented here. It is a tremendous kaleidoscope. And we must encourage that kaleidoscope and appreciate the culture, the music, the poetry, the faith, the holy books that people carry with them. But we must remember that we are, at heart, all Londoners. And we must give everyone, migrants and refugees, the opportunity to be Londoners. It is unbound upon ourselves as humanitarians. But there is also a pressure on the refugees and the migrants that they too should hold out their hands and be prepared to integrate and to take part in society and to be part of our civil society here in London. On Sunday, I was at Eden Square, and I was asked by a French television company, would you believe, why are we celebrating these things for the ethnic minorities? And my response was, this is not a celebration for the ethnic minorities, this is a celebration for London. Muslim London, or Muslims within London are a major part of London, and it is right that we should understand and share their festivals, just as we invite them to share the carol service when we light up the tree, which is pagan, on Trafalgar Square, when we celebrate Diwali and Vaisakhi in the square as well. All of these elements add together to make London the most glorious city, certainly in Europe and probably within the world. And it is my pleasure to be part of that process, to polish its reputation and to hold out that hand of friendship to those who wish to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.